video on proportional relationships, and I'm going to show you how you can do all sorts of things with the proportional relationship, but mostly how to set it up and what to pay attention to. So here we go. It says, I went to the YMCA the other day and jogged for 1/8 of an hour. I jogged 3/4 of a mile. What is my speed in miles per hour? So the first thing you need to know is this. This word here is probably the most important part of the entire problem. It says miles per hour. So the miles is here. The hour is what follows. Per is telling you that I want 1 hour for 1 hour. So all I have to do in order to make sure that you're going to be doing this right is you're just going to write a fraction. Miles over hours. And if you do that, you're in great shape. Now, what I'm going to do next is just fill in the information. It says 1/8 of an hour. All right, so for 1/8 of an hour, I jogged 3/4 miles. That's it. That's it. Now you're in good shape. Once you have a fraction, you have to remember that fractions mean to divide. All right, well, they don't mean to divide, but fractions imply division. Okay, so I'm going to take 3/4 and I'm going to divide it by 1/8. Now, if you have a calculator, you can just do it in a calculator. If you don't have a calculator, you have to remember that division is keep, change, flip. You don't need a common denominator for division. You just have to remember to keep the first one, change division to multiplication, and take the reciprocal of the second number. And we get 24/4, which reduces down to 6/1. So I get a new fraction, 6/1. But what that really means is 6 miles for every 1 hour. All right, so that's how fast I was jogging. 6 miles for 1 hour. Now, what can we do with this? Okay, well, there's a couple things you can do with it. And the first thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make a table. But before I make a table, I think it's always important to remember that this is, first of all, this is our unit rate. And we find the unit rate by dividing these two numbers. And the top number is, your numerator is always y, and your denominator is always x. And I'm going to explain that in a moment as well. So, now that we know that we have 6/1, we also get something for free. It's called our k. Our k is going to be 6. The k is the same number. It's our constant of proportionality. And I know I'm going kind of quick, so if I'm going too fast for you, please pause. Constant of proportionality. Please pause and do what you need to do. Take down notes, copy this example, whatever. So now I'm going to make a table of values. Table of values. And I'm going to show you something that's kind of neat in a moment. So let's see. We know that the first value is always our x value, and the second value is going to be our y value. But our x was time in hours. All right, so this is our hours. And this was our distance in miles. So really, I have an h and I have an m. Now, in order for this to be a true proportional relationship, you always have to have this value 0, 0. If I ran for 0 hours, I would accomplish 0 miles. I'd go 0 miles. I know that if I ran 1 mile, I'd go 6 miles. 1 hour, I'd go 6 miles. I ran for 1/8 of an hour, so I went 3/4 miles. If you divide, remember I said k equals y over x. Besides for the 0, 0, if you divide your y value, which is here, by your x value, you will get 6. If you divide this y value by this x value, you will still get 6. And the reason why is because it's called a constant of proportionality. It means that it is always going to be the same number. Now, the reason why that's useful is this. We can write an equation that will represent this relationship. And we always say y equals kx. Well, we now know that k is 6. So really, it is y equals 6x. Now, what that means is if I ran for 5 hours, I could say y equals 6 times 5, which is 30. I would go 30 miles. Now, the big problem is this. If anybody walked up and just looked at y equals 6x, they don't necessarily know what on earth you're talking about. They don't know that you're talking about miles and hours. So I'm going to show you a quick trick on how to write an equation that's a little bit more specific. I'm going to take a look at the row that has my unit rate. This is my unit rate, right? And this is the heading of my table. If you cross multiply, you get 1 times m, which is m. But here, we're going to get 6 times h, which is 6h. And that actually makes a little bit more sense. The number of miles is equal to 6 times the number of hours I ran. So really, when h was 5, 6 times 5 gives you 30. M equals 30. The last thing I'm going to show you is this. I'm going to go over here. I know this video is kind of long. We had the point, oh goodness me, we had the point 0, 0. And we had the point 1, 6. So 1, 6 is here. And then I can draw, maybe I can't draw, let's see if I can draw this. I can draw this line and it will go like this, and it should go on forever. Now, this line is going to be pretty close, and then what you would do is you'd write down the equation on the line, m equals 6h, preferably so people can read it. M equals 6h, and you'll see, and it's not exactly perfect, but you'll see 1/8 and 3/4. Let's see if I can find that. At 1/8 of an hour, At 1/8 of an hour, I was at 3/4, which is someplace around, I wonder if I can just do it. Nope. Someplace around here. Right? And that looks actually pretty accurate. That might have been a little bit too confusing, so I kind of wish I hadn't done that. Anyway, so that's it. That's my video on this. All the points will be on that graph. I can't even get back to where I need to go. But everything's related. And here, like I said, the key is knowing this right here, miles per hour, gives you that fraction. And that fraction is using y over x. That also gives you the constant proportionality, which gives you the equation. Everything is connected. Good luck.